Hey there, safari lovers. Brian here again. I want to have a quick chat today about wildlife estates in South Africa, what they are and how they differ from, say, a private game reserve. So, and they do have some of these, I know, in Botswana. I've noticed a couple, but it's quite a big thing in South Africa that they have wildlife estates. Some of them are open, unfenced. Many of them are fenced, but they range from, say, 600, where I am now on Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate. I think it's about 680 hectares, and they can go up to a lot bigger than that, 5,000, 6,000 hectares. So what are they and how do they differ from a private game reserve? So a private game reserve basically is a reserve that has several lodges on it, and you stay in the lodge or one of the lodges there, but you can't generally buy any property in there. So the wildlife estates are an opportunity for people, and anyone can do it, even if you're from outside of South Africa. Buying real estate in South Africa basically abides by the English rule of law, if you will. So anyone can buy real estate in South Africa as long as you've either got a full payment or at least 50% of the deposit on a property here, whether it be land or a home, and you can then borrow the other 50% off a bank in South Africa. The difference again between the private game reserves and a wildlife estate is the fact that, well, I'm sitting here right now, we've got our beautiful little freestanding cottage here in Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate, and I could buy a place in here if I had the money to do so. As I said, they range in different sizes, and they also range in what sort of game they have on there. So, for instance, Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate, because it's pet friendly, dog friendly, they generally have what we would call general game, plains game. So there'll be kudu, warthog, zebras, giraffe, duiker, impala. There's tons of birds, obviously, because they can come and go as they please. That sort of, general gentle game, if you will. They do get leopards on the estate because they cut under holes that are dug by warthogs, porcupines, and aardvarks. So they do come on at night, but you're highly unlikely to see them. I think from memory, hyenas can often get under the holes because it's an electrified fence. Now, you won't really see the fence unless you drive along the fence line. You walk behind me and you go 30 metres into the bush or whatever, and you wouldn't even know there were homes here. So there's several different choices, there's different prices, and honestly, a warthog just, hang on, let's see if I can see the warthog just behind me. Hopefully you saw that. These aren't pets, these are wild. They just trundled through our backyard here. That's what's awesome about being on the wildlife estate. You literally have this wildlife that can just walk past your place or our place. So the pricing, the main one, some will just may have a lodge on it and private homes that aren't allowed to be rented out to, for want of a better word, tourists or travellers like ourselves. The main one that we have in Hoedspruit, and you'll be able to find these on Airbnb or Booking.com, or more are on Airbnb, some are on Booking.com. As people try to diversify to open up their market, they're going on more and more of third-party booking platforms. So we use Booking.com to stay where we are, and I'll try to pronounce it. Fantastic host here, Kimberly, and it's Amukela Kaya, so it's Amukela space Kaya. Great value place, especially it's really, at the moment, it's really for couples, but it's a big space. It's a big 1 bedroom, big proper kitchen, full-size fridge. Nice bathroom, double sinks, that sort of thing. And I think that currently we're paying about roughly $60 US a night. Now it is It's not full service. They will service your room every few days if you like, depending on how long you stay. But basically, they've got a washing machine and things like that here. But it's self-catering. So out the front gate of Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate, there's the Pick and Pay and restaurants, that sort of thing. So you're in the wild but connected to the town. Some are a bit further afield from Hoedspruit. They might be 10 or 15 minutes out of town, but the one I know that has the most opportunities is here in Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate. There could be 20 plus places of different. Some places are like a little lodge that you've got a main house, and then you might have rooms or suites attached there, maybe 4 or 5, or like there's plenty of freestanding places like Wearon that can go up to 4 or 5 bedrooms depending on your needs and depending on your budget. So why would you necessarily come and stay on a wildlife estate instead of going into, say, Kruger and staying inside the park? It can be for people who, maybe you've been in Kruger and you've been banging around the bush for a few days and you want a bit of luxury and something closer to town with a greater variety of restaurants and things like that. So it might be that. It could be that you want to base yourself like we have here, and you have the options of either going to Kruger, doing self-drive. The Orpin Gate's about 50 minutes away. Munyaledi, you can go to the Munyaledi Game Reserve and self-drive part of that, which is right next to the Orpin Gate. You just chuck a ride at the Orpin Gate to go to Munyaledi. Or use some of the private game reserves that I talk about in another video that are really very close, within anything from a few minutes to 10-15 minutes from Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate. And if you're a long-termer, it's an option as well. So if you want to kind of live in the bush and still have internet access and that sort of thing, be a digital nomad, which we will be doing on our next day. We'll be here for 6 weeks. It's just a great base, and we just find people around Hoedspruit really friendly, really helpful. The other thing is you can base yourself here, and there's a lot of activities to do around Hoedspruit. You can go on obviously they will have a website that tells you all the things you can do. But you've got the Blyde River Canyon, which is the 3rd largest canyon in the world. Magnificent. You've got the Blyde River. You can go kayaking and canoeing and that sort of thing. I saw a boat pull up the other day just near the supermarket, or near the supermarket. So obviously they take power boats in there as well. I've seen there's quad biking tours you can go on. You can do microlight tours. I said hot air ballooning. There's Jessica the hippo is here, who was quite famous on YouTube, and I think they did a documentary on her as well. You've got 3 wildlife rehabilitation centres here that you can go to. So there's a ton of activities around the town, and as I said, if you're sort of sick of just cooking out in the bush or your lodge food, there's a lot of different options here. Pretty laid back atmosphere in Hoedspruit, and in the estate it's nice and quiet, peaceful. Everyone sticks to the rules about noise and stuff like that. So it's a good option for people who want to base themselves, be able to have access to both Kruger, private game reserve, and a whole bunch of activities as well, while still being surrounded by nature. There's a green belt here, and they will be on all the the estates like this, where you drive along a tar road, you pull up to your house and you got there, but then there's a green belt here in Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate where you go into, and it's just pretty well flat gravel or dirt that they really well maintain. So we have a little Volkswagen Polo, and you can drive around here with no problems at all with even a small car like that. You can drive into the green belt. It's very dense at the moment because it's the end of what they would call the rainy season here. So it's a bit green, it's a bit thick and lush. As I said, tons of birds. Even sitting in the background here, I could just sit here and just photograph birds in the backyard. But you can drive through the green belt and you will see, you'll just be driving past zebras, giraffe up close, this sort of, and the animals here, because there's traffic because of the owners here, obviously with vehicles, they're often more docile and approachable than going to any of the parks whether it be the public or private ones here. So you'd be surprised how relaxed the animals are, like those warthogs that just walked through here. So I hope this is helpful, because it's just another safari option out there that some people they don't know about. As I said, we're planning on doing a long-term stay here, and probably several long-term stays in the wildlife estate, Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate. So check it out. That's pretty much it for now about the wildlife estate, or wildlife estates in general. So if you found the info helpful, give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.